Hi all, Genelations here. Before I start my second video, I just want to give a great big well done to GreatBigBore, who I believe this week broke the 1,000 subscriber mark. Congratulations to him, and secondly for getting a shout out from NonStampCollector. If you haven't checked out either of them channels, I will get a link set up somewhere, probably in the status bar or something. I highly suggest that you go and check out their channels, because they are both very good. And as you are my one and only subscriber so far, Mr. Boar, from me to you, very well done. Very impressive. Good videos, always good. And can you just do me one favour, please? Get some sleep, because I'm seeing a video every other day, and I don't know how you do it. You're a machine. Please sleep for me, because it's a ridiculous work rate to have on. Keep them coming though. They're very good. So my second video is going to be on how Christians always harp on about the Bible. This book is supposed to be humanity's guide to morality. You know, the way we're supposed to live our lives. And yes, if you look at some of the verses, I agree 100% that they are some very honest, respectable ways to live your life. However, that's glossing over some of the more vulgar, shall we say, quotes. So what I'm going to do to prove this is compare with passages from something that in the Western world is considered to be a hate book. You know, a book full of hate speech, and that is the Qu'ran. I have not read the Qu'ran. I will stand up and say that and admit that straight away. Is it a book of hate? I can't say either way. But what I will say is, chances are, compared to the Bible, the Qu'ran is kittens. Absolute kittens compared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into a little quiz. I have 7 quotes here, and I want you to guess which ones are from the Qu'ran and which ones are from the Bible. So, without further ado, let's get quote number 1 out the way. Ready? Let's go. Now kill all the young boys, and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. So, right off here we see this quote that God's command here is, you know, sex. Let's have sex, and anyone who has had sex before shall die, and everyone that hasn't won't, because having sex with them will be better. That sounds like something some nutter would say, and that is why you will find it in the Bible. That is Yahweh. All loving? Is it all loving to kill people that have had sex? Does that mean sex is a sin? I'm not sure what Yahweh's logic is here. Quote number 2. Blessed are the believers who restrain their carnal desires, except with their wives and slave girls, for these are lawful to them. Okay, don't have sex with other people, except with your wives and slave girls. Okay, the slave girls bit I'm not sure about. The rest of it is fine. That's actually from the Qu'ran. As far as hate speech goes, compared to the previous quote, that's quite timid. Actually, I'd rather follow the Qu'ran than the Bible so far, based on that. I mean, obviously we can't base the 2 books on 1 quote each, but that's a bit more socially acceptable. Then he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was going up the road, some youths came from the city and mocked him, and said to him, Go up, you bald head! Go up, you bald head! So he turned around and looked at them, and pronounced a curse on them in the name of the Lord. And 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the youths. Okay, that definitely sounds like something some evil dictator-like, you know, being would do. That sounds tremendously horrendous, you know. I think that... apparently that was Yahweh's power that allowed that to happen. So all-loving Yahweh decided it would be acceptable to maul 42 youths because they called someone bald. Again, I'm not following the all-loving part in Yahweh and the mauling. If mauling is all-loving, then, I don't know, is raping all-loving? I'm not sure. Also, how did they know they were 2 female bears? In the middle of this mauling, did they go out and check to see if it had a penis or not? This bear doesn't appear to have a penis. It must be a female. Was that their logic? Hey, who am I to question the unarguable word of God? I mean, that's got to be true. That's got to be just in some way or another, hasn't it? Next quote. No one whose testicles are crushed or whose male organ is cut off shall enter the assembly of the Lord. Okay. Well, by that logic, people that are from Islam, if anyone is in some sort of accident and they lose their balls, they can't go to heaven. Oh no, sorry, that is from Christianity. That is Yahweh's command. Actually, that's quite disturbing, because in the Middle Ages, didn't the church used to cut off choir boys' genitals to make them sing higher? So the Catholic Church decided to give boys eternal damnation just to make them sing high? I mean, I know the Catholic Church has a pretty dodgy history, but even by their standards, that's low. Maybe they just missed that verse out. You know, it's pretty easy to miss these verses out in these books. Next quote. Happy the one who repays you as you have served us. Happy the one who takes and dashes your little ones against the rock. Well, I'm pretty sure you can guess what this one is, because that's just ridiculously violent. You know, that's hatred incarnate. That's a psalm from the Bible. Yep, you heard right. Strange, I thought this was supposed to be a book of love and loving one's neighbour like you love yourself or something like that. I don't know, maybe they just ignored Jesus when that happened, I don't know. And Saul said, Speak thus to David, the king desireth not any dowry, but only 100 foreskins from the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. For those of you even remotely familiar with the Bible, you should be able to figure this one out, because it is from the Bible, because Yahweh seems to have some sort of obsession with foreskins, and thus so do his followers. Not quite sure what the foreskin fetish is, but who am I to question Yahweh, who is perfect, when he created man with foreskins and told them to cut them off because he hated them? He's perfect. I do need to keep telling you that, don't I? Last quote. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. And then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. In English, and slightly more modern English, that means, if guys don't have the mark, you're allowed to kill them, because they don't follow me. That is the epitome of hate, I feel. The epitome of ignorance, which is why that was a command from Yahweh in Ezekiel. Ezekiel? I'm not really sure how you say that. Is that ignorant of me? No more ignorant than Yahweh there, who is perfect, so evidently I am perfect. Because if Yahweh's ignorant, and I'm ignorant, that means I'm part Yahweh, so I'm perfect. Or is that not the right logic? I'm not really sure what the right logic is right now. So how did you do? That was 7 quotes. You would have realised that only quote number 2, mentioning the not having sex with people that aren't your wife or slaves, that was from the Qu'ran. The rest were all from the Bible. You'll notice that actually that quote was probably the kindest out of all of them. Yeah, you can accuse me of quote mining here, but at the end of the day, the barbarity and idiocy, quite frankly, used in these quotes, is any of that acceptable in any context? You can argue that some of the barbarity and punishments fitted the culture, but surely a perfect Yahweh shouldn't be trying to fit into a culture or time period. He should be making the culture fit him, because after all, he is perfect, not the culture. The fact he did not try to stop this, or even attempt to stop it, means that Yahweh is nothing more than a petty, bloodthirsty, foreskin obsessive maniac, who is much better off being ignored and forgotten about, like all the other pointless, redundant deities like Horus and Zeus and all the others from ancient civilizations that have long since died out or become civilized in some way or another. If you still hold the view that this being is all-loving, and that the New Testament is his message, well, congratulations, Yahwehists. You've just made the most powerful being in history bipolar. And after having first-hand experience of bipolar disorder myself, I can tell you it is not something you want in the extreme ruler of existence to be having. I mean, You wait till he starts feeling low again. Obviously, he was low in the Old Testament, high in the New Testament. You wait till he starts feeling low again. It will rain sheep, and we will be killed for sodomizing fire, or something. Isn't there that Bible story in the Old Testament where God destroys an entire city, and the only man to survive was raped by his 2 daughters afterwards, after he had rescued a couple of angels from a group of men that wanted to have sex with them? That's not a religion, that's a porno. All the best to all of you. A very, very confused Genelations.